Welcome to Zelda Speed Runs. We have for you from the Zelda 2 Randomizer Standard Tournament 2025 a brackets round 2 game 1 matchup between jkoper and Paratroopa. I'm VT Slacker. I'll be the tracker for this race, and I'll pass it over to our commentator of this race, Elendar. Take it away, Elendar.
Hey, good evening, everybody. We're in for what should be the start of a really good match here. This is going to be jkoper and Paratroopa is our 8 and 9 seeds in the brackets for the upper portion for the main tournament bracket. So this should be as close as we could really get in terms of a matchup as far as what the seedings would say. And having raced these runners a number of times myself, I could say they should be pretty closely matched. This should be a really good one. We are just waiting on jkoper having some technical issues, but should be up and good to go in just a moment. While we do that, let me bring the brackets up. So path to get here through the brackets, jkoper taking down Sausage Link in the previous round. Para taking out David Amber, one of our newer runners who put up quite a fight in a number of his races this tournament. Winner of this match going to go on to face the winner of Salamu Shaddy, who I will not name, but people can always check the brackets if they want to be spoiled on that. This will be a best of 3. I believe this is game 1 of this matchup. I'm sure VT can correct me in chat if I'm wrong. So yeah, game 1. Not gonna have an overall winner today, but we will keep with it. The round will be finished by the end of this week, so all of our matches will be in by then. So we should expect to see at least one more race from these two, and hopefully two, as I, like all of you, am hoping for more Zelda 2 rather than less. Good comment from VT. Game 2 tomorrow, game 3 Wednesday if needed. So we're just gonna keep being here, same time, same channel. Hopefully we'll get all these races covered. And it looks like Koper has fixed his technical issues. Good to go. So we should be starting off in just a second here. jkoper rocking his traditional Trogdor sprite. And Para gonna be the Castlevania sprite. I believe it's Simon. Oh, never mind. We have further technical difficulties. This one might be my fault. There was a update to the randomizer just earlier, late last week. I usually don't like to do updates during the tournament, but we did have to do one because there was an issue that was found, thankfully not in a tournament race, but was found in a by I believe it was Gab who found it. There was a bug where the rando was not properly evaluating blocking logic if a town was behind either the hidden Kasuto or Three-Eyed Rock for the new locations, not the old ones. So if you if there was, for example, a hammer in the fountain and that town was underneath the hidden Kasuto location, it was possible that the logic wouldn't realize that and then would require you to get a thing in that town that was required for that town. It would be a big mess. So the rare exception to the no updates during a tournament rule is we will make updates if something could potentially break a seed. Thankfully, this tournament and I think the last 2 tournaments previously, we haven't had any uncompletable seeds during the tournament. So hopefully going to continue that streak through this one. We are doing our best to squash any bugs as they come up. So while we're waiting for one of our runners to perform their update, if anyone has any questions or stuff they want to chat about, I'm just sort of killing some time here. There will be a new update immediately following the tournament. Exactly what that is going to have in it is going to depend on how much stuff we get done. At least going to be some new palette styles. We got some new sprites, got a bunch of under the hood stuff, bunch of new options that are just extensions of the existing stuff. New options for experience, new options for enemy health. Someone last stream suggests Larry blocked palaces. That's very easy to do. I might spin that out just because all right, we are good to go. So we will be off in just a couple seconds here. If anyone has requests for features, as always, hop into the Discord, into the Z2 developer channel, and feel free to ask us. We're always interested in looking at new stuff. Some really cool features come from user suggestions. We also have a channel where you can submit community text for different things. I will be actively putting out some requests for that soon, mostly because the requirements have changed. Thanks to JRO, we now have the capability for up to 6 lines of text instead of 4. So if anyone's got any cool ideas for things they want to be shown on community text, hop on in and let me know. And finally, after technical issues have been resolved, we are off. And a little bit of divergence right at the start here. Both runners getting stuck in a grave encounter. But Para finding Bagu first. jkoper just finding the corner. Extra container going to be our first item. We did add a couple of new sprites in the most recent update, just because they're not gonna break anything, not gonna change any logic or anything. But there is it's especially cool if people are interested. There's a new Luigi sprite that was made that it's a complete sprite swap for all of the different enemies in the scene. It looks very cool. If anyone doesn't like Luigi, they want to play as Mario, you could always just, have red Luigi. jkoper also getting his container. Both runners stuck all the way at the VT Slacker made the Mario sprite. Okay. Another magic container going to be hanging out there, and we've got a caldera, but it is boots blocked. So probably going to find boots block in this Pillar P-Bag Cave for Koper, or potentially Para had found that Paratroopa Cave, it could be one of the rare occasions where there's just a cave or caves that will take you past the caldera. We'll see in just a second. Para just cruising through, Koper taking a brief stop to get attack 2. Well, no boots, but we did get a raft. I didn't see a raft tile, but I might have just missed it. Could be the detour that we need before going into the caldera. Alright, so Koper gonna be the first one to... No, I was gonna say gonna be the first one to check this cave to the south. Here's a palace. That's not logically accessible, but Koper gonna get this hint, or lack of hint. 2-item P3 or 6. And it is gonna be P6. And yep, Koper does not have a key, no enemies. The dripper is not going to be able to drip. An unusual but intentional feature of that room is it has exactly the number of sprites. Oh, P5, okay. That dripper room with the item in it has exactly the number of sprites to be the maximum. And so the dripper does not start working until you have cleared out one of them, either by hitting the 50-50 statue, opening the key door, or killing the enemy. And yeah, Para did successfully bypass that caldera with that cave. So Para on the logical path, Koper looking to maybe steal some items here. Decided to drop down to get that P-Bag, probably looking to get attack 3, but unfortunately it's $50, not quite enough. He's gonna have to jump past this again. Go west to find the mirror, okay. Could be an easy one to get. I suspect Koper's going to be in this P5 only as long as it takes him to get this attack 3 and no longer. And this Gooma's going to do it. And while Para gets a nice 500 outside of the overworld, going up to 223. And yeah, as expected, Koper straight out, not actually interested in doing P5, just trying to get attack 3, steal some items if he can, and move on. Okay, so Koper gonna do Medicine Cave here. Para did not do this. This is something important. This could be a big advantage for jkoper, not wanting to leave anything behind. Para gets a 500 bag from the wizard. Absolutely worth this point to the seed. Not interested in going inside of houses to get hints, though. Moving along to grass tile. What do we get here? Okay, any key. That's the logical palace access. Now Para's got to be thinking about that P5. Not something you usually want to do early. Okay, so jkoper gets the mirror. So he is going to be able to get his Thunder Spell. And Para's going to have to go back to the north at some point and make that trip through again. Probably when she decides to do P5. Para finding yet another required item locked behind a spell item here. Going to be glove behind the trophy. And absolutely going to get this hint. Okay, trophy in 5. If there was ever a race where you would seriously consider doing a very, very early P5, this is going to be it. You've got a magic key. You need to go back to the north anyway to get that mirror. You get a trophy in P5. If you could pull it off, that's going to save a lot of time in routing. But if you can pull it off is the restriction here. I think both of these runners I've seen at some point of this tournament take a game over to Guma and lose a lot of time. So it's a lot of time saved if you can pull it off, and a lot of time lost if you can't. It's a question of how confident our runners are going to be. Okay, and it looks like there's a portion of this bottom section you can't get to without the boots, or potentially a hammer to break that rock. Para just gonna move on, ride her raft away. Koper finds Thunderous Castle, 66 at Magic 1, very cheap, almost minimum cost. Minimum cost, of course, 60 would be half of the vanilla 200, and Para gets almost nowhere on that raft before being forced back to the northern section with a game over. So Para, good news, is going to get that mirror. We'll see if she wants to do P5. I would want to do it so much and then get absolutely wrecked. 3 items, including one that you know is absolutely required, is a big deal, especially the glove, because that makes any other palaces you do a lot safer. Koper also onto his last life. Gonna have to be careful because a trip back to the north a lot less valuable for him. And looks like it is just an invisible small item, probably a blue or red jar in this trophy cave. So Koper at least gets life 4, going to be a little bit safer. But he's going to want to find a palace to reset on. Yeah, and I really like this for Para. She is going to go into P5 here. Little bit spooky at low levels. 2, 3, 4 is really rough. If she can get at least attack 4 by the time she finds Guma, that's going to help a lot. Attack 3 is doable, but you got to be really careful. Attack 2 is just terrifying. Oh, Para trying to get the tripper to drip. No dripping here. We're going to be able to get this first item with the magic key. And the first item is the trophy. That's good. That means at least, okay. I'm gonna say, if Para did want to keep going, at least a game over wouldn't be terrible. And it's not a huge loss if Para decides to just take the trophy and run, because now she could just come back later for downstab and the other palaces. Meanwhile, Koper just sort of quietly, sensibly routing this seed. Picked up all the stuff from the north, picked up all the stuff from the south. Probably going to be riding a raft in just a second here. Just as soon as he finishes this last thing, which is picking up the glove hint. Curious whether this will send him north as well, or he'll wait until he has, at the very least, like enough to get down stab before going back north. In an ideal world, you don't up A back to start until you have jump or fairy to get down stab, enough levels to reasonably clear 5 and that 3 or 6, and having the boots to go do the caldera, and you can just sort of do it all in one. How long is it going to be before that happens? I have no idea. Para first on the board with the glove, going to be second on the board with thunder in just a second, and then probably back on that raft. Go see what she can find on the east. So I like jkoper's big exploration route up front. With not having the glove here, it is a little bit unfortunate. Probably means Koper is a little bit behind in aggregate, but it's so difficult to say this early. We'll see how much this early east pays off, and it looks like it's islands. Islands or just a very lakey vanilla-like. Koper does have the spell. Didn't catch whether it was castable. Rebenak rides with the boots. So that is really interesting. Rebenak rides with the boots, which means that it's possible that just getting enough for downstab means if that palace in the north end of the west is actually 3, then you could do 5, 3, and the Caldera Palace all in one and up A, even without the boots, just knowing that you'll get the boots on the way. But jkoper hopefully gonna find the other 3 or 6 prior to that, just so he'll know what he's looking for. Nice job by Para, taking the intentional death to speed up this trip out. Okay, so Koper's trip to New Casino getting not a ton. I didn't catch whether that container is enough for the basement. 5 was not enough. But I didn't catch whether it was 6 or 7. We'll see in just a second here whether Koper stops or moves on. It looks like 6 is enough. Just like in vanilla, right? You do spell tower at the end and then work your way back and get the basement to the end with the extra container. Get a quick 3-eyed rock check with Koper's newly acquired flute. Ooh, and does have something under it. So that is a handy flute. Good use of thunder to eliminate any MOA issues. And Para right on jkoper's heels, a little bit behind, but with a glove in hand. I was gonna say, just Moa's out of the way, but no more Moas. Yeah, so the only route forward appears to be across this bridge. And it is hammer blocked, so no more access to the east. So our runners at this point, not only, I talked about how you want to have everything you need before upping and doing palaces on the west, but that is unfortunately not an option. Our runners are going to be forced into western palaces. With any luck, it's P3 to go with P5, and they'll be able to boot into the caldera. If it's 6, then runners are just going to be forced to do P5 and P6 on very early low levels. Koper gets he was just looking for a little bit to finish up his level, but finds a 500 bag. Decides not worth holding on to the rest of it. So with that hint, I bet we're going to see jkoper do this 3 or 6 first. Partially because you don't want to do 5. Well, Coper doesn't have the trophy. It's hard to say. Knowledge from that 3 or 6 is going to be really valuable. It is also a little bit risky if you don't go and get the glove first. I'm curious if having picked up the items from this P5, whether Coper goes to get the glove before doing the rest or not. It's really awkward because if you know it's P3, then it's probably not worth going to get the glove first. But with the lack of knowledge, not checking the rest of 5, I think it's understandable Coper is probably just going to go get the glove up A and then be safe. Or maybe do this 3 or 6 first. It's got 2 items. And it is P3. So a thing that was discovered for people who have not been following the developer channel. This is information I am sharing with everyone who doesn't follow the developer channel. If people are still in the race especially. It was discovered that due to a bug, the up elevator entrance in P6 was accidentally disabled since the release of 5.0. And so it is an additional way to tell whether you are in P3 or 6. If you see an up elevator, it is definitely P3. That issue will be fixed after the tournament, but as previously mentioned, did not want to change anything material mid-tournament, so that will not be changed. But of course, that information was useful for all of approximately 3 seconds, because jkoper also saw some windows immediately after, confirming that this is in fact a 2-item P3. So one of our items will be boots, one of our items unknown. Pretty much guarantee you that nobody will be leaving here without boots. And probably both items because, I mean, with boots, you don't need the hammer necessarily to cross that bridge, so logically, maybe you don't necessarily need to get both items, but I know a 2-item of 3 is pretty nice. Yeah, both runners digging, looking to this left room first, finding a dead end. Para maybe not recognizing this is dead end, maybe wanting to try and kill that blue iron knuckle. Yeah. Unfortunate for Para, not realizing this is a dead end and probably going to take an up A at this point. Meanwhile, Coper gets the Passover item room, and after passing it over and seeing its boots, is turning back to go get them. Also taking an up A, interesting. Doesn't even want to finish. Coper thinking about going south to get the glove, thinking about going through the caldera. I think he was trying to remember, is this a one-way caldera or not? I believe it is. It's one of those things where if that was a 2-entrance caldera, you kind of want to go through just to check and see what the palace is. If it's not, you don't want to risk potentially getting trapped in there. Yeah, it does not look like there is another exit. Could be behind that lake, actually. Okay, so Para looping around to this boots item room from the other direction. Both runners with the boots. Both runners leaving. Neither runner interested in beating P3. Understandable, you're going to have to come back there eventually anyway. Para is going into the caldera. Has to go through, yeah, what she quickly realizes is jump cave. And not going to go through the caldera anyway. No jump or fairy cannot get through jump cave from that direction. So jump or fairy now doubly important prior to up Aing back to the west. Partially for down stab, partially for being able to get into the caldera. Although there is, at this point, a 1 in 4 chance that that's GP and you're just going to be sad, but... Hopefully Koper is going to find the rest of the palaces and be able to have some process of elimination. Man, the child is in Death Mountain. Something was in the maze for jkoper, but it was so quick I did not catch what it was. And he finds water tile and sunken P-bag cave. This is the second of 2 P-bag caves in the east. Kara, meanwhile, also arriving on the east, not wanting to try and... Neither runner wants to cross that bridge. Both runners going to hug the coast, see what they can find this way. And our eyes have been saved. jkoper has found a candle to enable us to see in the dark. Is going to have that too, slightly after. Don't think we had any hints for good required items on the east. Oh, jump. Man, that's a good one. At this point, I'd rather have jump than fairy. When you already have magical key and you just need to get through jump cave and get down stab. Jump's just a cheaper option, a little better in GP. Obviously, that only applies when you already have the magic key. A little bit of trouble for jkoper on this overworld encounter, but Thunder making it through no problem. Thunder Spell, it's not just for GP. Yeah, and this little road going to be confirmation at this point that this is a vanilla-like. It's jkoper moving north to the third of 3 segments in a vanilla-like east. Finds a hidden Kasuto tile. And a dead end. And unfortunately, an up A is going to be too costly, so he is going to have to just sort of slowly work his way out of the swamp. Looks like progression in the east is going to be west across that bridge from the raft and not north up the coast. Now that Koper's got this level, though, you could up A here. Yeah, and he's going to do it. I had said that, you know, jump or fairy was the last of the things you needed to necessarily clear all this stuff in the west, and it's going to be enough for him. He's got a glove, he's got the ability to get down stab, and he'll have down stab shortly, and then just start smashing some palaces. Para takes a game over, though. Did get jump spell prior to taking that game over, so basically just putting her in the same boat as Koper. Not sure if that was intentional or not, but it, you know, if it's good enough for jkoper to do intentionally, I'm sure Para's not going to complain if it happens unintentionally. This is about as good of a time to take a game over as you can possibly get. Both runners basically taking the same routing, a little bit of divergence early, but coming right back together here. Getting the boots, going north up the coast, getting jump, going back to start, getting down stab. And really it's going to come down at least in terms of who's going to be leading at mid-game, is just going to come down to palace routing. jkoper going to do the Caldera first. This is a good move. You know that the palaces in the north side are a little bit on the harder side, so you'd rather get this one done first, get some experience, and then go back and do the other two. And if this is GP, no big deal. Just up A and you do the other palaces anyway. Para go back down to the south, though. Doesn't want to do the palaces. Did get upstab, but wants to go back east. So this is good. I thought this was going to be pretty parallel routing, but this is so far the biggest divergence. And there is a pass-through in this Caldera. It was just both sides of the Caldera were blocked by lakes. So Para back east, jkoper in this Caldera Palace, which is 6. And oh, jkoper doesn't have the. I thought he got the mirror to go get the glove, and then never went back and actually got the glove. That is somewhat embarrassing. Again, thankfully, he could just go out of the Caldera. Also, it looks like there's a way around that glove block room. Well, there won't be a way into it because the down room's also glove block, but he'll be able to go past it by going above. Keep in mind, we do have logical palace geometries on. This is one of the 2 new styles that has just a plain old normal grid system for its geometry. So jkoper does successfully know that glove block, probably not actually a glove block, just based on the rooms that he's seen thus far. He's going to stay high and keep going right. Meanwhile, Para did make it across that lake that was previously hammer blocked, but bypassing the need for a hammer with some boots. jkoper gets turned around with the... Oh, yeah, he's going to grab that blue jar. He was just short of casting Thunder before, and this will put him in Thunder range. It looks like no access to the middle side of the east via that western route. There is a pass-through gate here Para's about to hit. This is probably the way into the western end of the middle section. She's thinking about it. That's the way I would go. Yeah, jkoper is out of that palace. Gets the bad news that he cannot go through the Caldera to get to the south side. It's the butt end of Fairy Cave not letting him through. And so he will be forced to up A and go around the long way. Yeah, he was thinking about 3 very briefly, but once you've already gotten glove blocked out of one palace, just go get the glove. And that is what he's doing. Especially when you know where the glove is, you have all the required items to get the glove. It's just unfortunately didn't actually go back and grab it earlier. Para has now learned to press both the up and down buttons, demonstrating that to the old man. Yep, Death Mountain holds the child in a maze-sized heart container. Okay. That was the hint I had missed earlier on jkoper's side. Para finds it and realizes, okay, one item down in the maze. I mean, they'd take a heart container at this point, but not worth going out of your way for. Right. Coper's hands, nice and covered. Para unable to break down that forest, and yeah, this is just a dead end. Yeah, the whole. I guess she had game overed here before seeing that this dead end, so gonna get confirmation now. So yeah, that whole middle section of the east is gonna be through that pass-through cave. It's on the central east coast. Hopefully, Para figures that out, and we'll be there in just a second. Whenever you have a vanilla-like east like this, it is naturally divided into 3 sections. Sort of similar to how vanilla, you think of the east, there's the northern section, and then there's, you can either coast or take the cave to the middle section, which is where you come in, and then down past the River Devil is the third southern section. Similarly, when you get vanilla-like in the east, there's 3 sections, and they have some kind of connection between them. Water, bridge, cave. There could be multiple connectors. They can take different forms, but you do start to see the 3 sections as you go. And yeah, and here, Para getting confirmation that this is where you need to go to get to the whole rest of the east. Found a P2. We get linked fire in Old Kasuto. Para's gonna pick it up. And we're gonna see what's linked to fire today. It's not thunder. We've seen jkoper use thunder a number of times. Confirmation it's not jump. Also not shield. And Para's life is too low for it to have been a life. jkoper finding the entrance to the maze very quickly. Gets that heart container he had a hint for, but we don't know what the next item is. We don't know whether there are any more required. I mean, we gotta find Reflect still. That could be anywhere. Okay, GP in the maze. We still got one. We still got one palace left to find on the east. Yeah, jkoper remembered this connector cave and went to it a lot quicker than Para did. So any time lost by jkoper forgetting to pick up that glove basically has been made up, and the runners are once again tied. Both runners getting life spell. We'll see how good that is in a second. And jkoper deciding P2, good enough for him. No items, so just gonna be a quick kill the boss and get out. Another room with a glove block in it. Koper gonna hold right rather than investigate the glove blocked side. And we'll see if Para decides to go dig out the second item on the maze. Looks like the answer is no. Finds an entrance to good old Death Mountain. We did have a hint for something in here. It was the child. So one of the 2 items is inaccessible without a hammer. The other item, not actually good. So pretty limited value in this DM, and yeah, Para deciding that's about enough of that. Oh, child needed for reflect. I had missed that one. If child is needed for reflect, Para definitely would have gone through and searched for it. I think it's worth looking. Okay, well now Para's got the hammer, so Death Mountain looking a lot better. Yeah, if that child's on Death Mountain, Para's gonna beeline it back there. So the child's definitely at Death Mountain. I just don't remember what it's for. Para did not mark that on her tracker, so. Would be very funny to see Vanilla Reflect be our last item we need to get. Child is Reflect. Okay, good confirmation from DK. Okay, Para just wanted to find this. I mean, Para, you know the second item's a heart container. I mean, I guess it's a good safety, but I don't know if I would spend very much time digging out an item that you know is a heart container when you already have 5. Meanwhile, jkoper still pounding away at this too. We were hoping, you know, with no items, this was going to be a quick one, just in out, kill the boss and go. But jkoper continuing to just hold right forever. No sign of the boss yet. That's a left. That's not a right. Lefts have a lot less value when there are no item rooms. Alright, so yeah, as expected, Para back in Death Mountain. Gonna do a pretty quickly found hammer cave. jkoper, having exhausted all available rights, has taken to going left. Alright. What was a full clear of almost a max length P2. jkoper finally getting through. Oh man, jkoper did a life spell cast there. We do have confirmation. It is 1 bar. One bar, not going to be enough for jkoper. Going to have to do a second attempt at Helmet Head. Para, meanwhile, with her child, up-Aing. Is it time yet to do palaces for Para? I would hope yes. And yes, it is. As jkoper is now first one on the board with a Helmet Head kill. So Para in this P3 with a glove, not gonna get stuck. jkoper also getting fire and testing it. He didn't check He did both runners did cast spell earlier. If this is fire spell, they could have figured it out earlier, but it's one of those things that doesn't really go through your mind. You know, make sure if you do cast spell at Spell Tower, do a check. Yeah, Perez cast it and got confirmation. It's one of the things though that it could save a little bit of time if you knew that. Wow, P3 also jump blocked, or at least potentially jump blocked here. If you knew ahead of time that it was fire spell, you probably don't go into the wizard and pick it up, because fire spell when you already have a spell is like pretty low on the totem pole of useful things. All right, so jkoper in P1. Just gonna finish up all of these eastern palaces before going back west. Very sensible. jkoper gonna have to take a death. Para had found the hard jump required room, which is a pretty rare one. jkoper finding the what seemingly more common, just because of its shape and the way random walk works, jump or fairy required. Pair it with a quick takedown on Rebo. Only 200 though, not going to be enough for the level. She's going to turn back and try and finish it up. Patrick sensibly complaining about quite how bright green this palace is. jkoper's color is a little bit darker because of just because of his capture. Generally speaking, you tend to see colors a little bit brighter on emulator, but it's one of those things where different emulators, different capture cards, different NESs, right? Just based on how your output signal works, right? Do you have an RGB mod? All of those things can adjust brightness and the way colors are displayed. There is no canonically correct rendering of NES color, so we're always going to see some variability in quite how blinding lime green is, because boy, yeah, this is very bright. jkoper finding the second item here in one. It's the shield spell. Pretty nice one to find, not the boss. You'd think this P1 and P2 would be quick, but they are absolutely not, as Para finally gonna put her first gem up on the board in 3, and gonna go in and do 6 first and then up 8 to 5. Makes sense. Still on attack 3, you'd rather get a little bit more experience, get at least attack 4, but we're taking on Guma if you can. But no shield spell for Para, that's on Koper's side, and a very crappy life spell is going to make Guma a little bit tougher than normal. Especially if she can't pick up attack 4 prior to that, although just a kill on Barba pretty much guaranteed to give attack 4 at this point. Between the amount of experience Barba gives, the boss experience, the tower experience, even if it ends up being not attack that is the next level, which it probably is, you you can still get there pretty easily. All right, finally, after another full clear, Cooper has found Horsehead. And it's going to take a couple cycles. This is attack 4, not the greatest. Taking 9 hits to take down a horse. And he will not be free of attack 4. This is going to be probably life 6 or magic 5. I think he has enough lives he could potentially let it roll, but at this point he really needs to up a... Well, I guess he could do Valley of Death. Yeah, that's probably where he's going to head next, just fully clear off the east. Yeah, this attack 4, I mean, Para's definitely going to have attack 4 prior to Guma, but looking at Cooper's side, it took 9 hits to kill a Horsehead who didn't roll up very much at attack 4. This attack 4 is bad. I think we can very safely say that at this point. Para finds an item room, not interested. Para changing her mind. She is interested. Oh, just not interested going right. Gonna keep dropping. Finds the turnaround room. And not turning around in the turnaround room. Just gonna hold right. And Para changing her mind once again. Turning around, extra turnaround. Deciding down is better than right, but gonna cost Para 1 life to make that conversion. So now Cooper's thinking about DM, thinking before he does DM, he wants to check and see if he can find the second item here. Cooper changing his mind and just going straight to DM without it. So we'll see how quickly he finds Hammer Cave. Should be pretty easy with the boots. I think Para went in a clockwise direction, and jkoper are going to take the same way. Meanwhile, Para's stabbing away at Barba, who's just a whole lot easier than Guma on attack 3. Going to be a little slow, but safe. And even with 1,000, not going to be able to get a double level on this, but I think she'll be perfectly happy as long as it's attack 4 or close to it. It does get the 1,000. Just a little bit short. Yeah, she's going to turn around. There's a blue Iron Knuckle in this room she could try to fight. The Doom Knocker probably a little bit easier. Yeah, just a quick Thundercast. And yeah, good thing, because that was not attack 4. That was magic 5. But the gem is going to be attack 4. This is all that really matters, is you get attack 4 before you go into P5. Give me just a second here. I had to pull some stuff up to update the tracker. BT just taking a little step out. And yeah, Cooper unfortunately not finding his way to Hammer Cave nearly as quickly as Para did. I don't remember exactly where it is, but jkoper just gonna be thorough, make sure that he gets it, and it's good at this point. He does need to get his kid. Para fell down to the bottom part of this room and gonna need to jump spell up. Makes the turnaround no problem. Yeah, I think it was Hammer Key was like all the way on the north side. Yeah, jkoper at this point just resorting to checking everything he can. Nice convenient fairy though. And P5. Nice fun mix between the dark colored background, the blue and black background with the fuchsia pink. What's in the Hammer Cave? Hammer Cave has got a kid, and that kid is the vanilla kid for Reflect Spell. Everybody can blame me in chat now if they want. I actually, shockingly, I don't understand. This seed has the longest P1 and P2 I've ever seen, and P6 and P5 are both lightning fast. Para already on Guma, and okay, this is gonna be tricky. Para doesn't have shield. Life spell is absolute bucks. Attack 4, not good. Guma's health looks like it rolled up a little bit. So he's got like, what, 2 extra bars? Yeah. Shout out to Jero for updating the health bar code to be not only more consistent, but also show additional bars so you can see when the boss rolls up. All right. So Para on her last life and just taking it safe. A couple hits per cycle, fall back, let Guma come forward. This is a very safe strategy, but you get 3 hits per cycle. Good combination of safety and effectiveness. It's definitely my favorite Guma strategy to use. It's working out great for Para. Just a couple more cycles, and she'll be out of here. All right, so Para pulling ahead on gems somehow. 5 and 6 were way faster than jkoper's 1 and 2. But jkoper with a little bit of an advantage because he has shield spell. Help out in Guma a ton. Not going to help out very much against lava. Cooper also, with the extra experience from those other palaces, by the time he gets into P5, he will almost certainly have attack 5 instead of this not very good attack 4. Yeah, no sign of fairy at all this seed. No hints. No kind of idea. Our runners have not been really aggressive about finding fairy, about finding hints. There aren't too many non-palace locations left. We've seen everything in DM, everything in the maze, everything in east and west. Yeah, no, actually there are no non-palace items remaining. Fairy is going to be somewhere in some palace. Para picks up her cross. And there's not a ton of palaces it could still be in. P4's got the medicine. Palaces 2 and 3, we've seen everything in. I think Koper's seen everything in 1. I don't think either runner checked all of the items in 5. It's a 3-item 5. No, Reflect is just it's into Runia. The wizard's got it. You need the kid. Just we're doing some good old vanilla Reflect. And Para's gonna pick that up in just a moment here. She has her kid. jkoper also with a child, but has not gone back to the east yet to pick it up. He'll go back to the east after clearing all these western palaces when he decides to do the last palace in Valley of Death. Yeah, this room set, this particular palace style, does make it moderately less likely that Fairy's going to be required in GP. I'd guess about half as much. Just because of the way Random Walk works, and because there aren't as many new rooms in GP as there are elsewhere. Just there weren't that many new GP rooms submitted for this set of rooms. And of the rooms submitted, there were not that many fairy blocks, so... Yeah, I mean, Slammer with a good point, you know. It wasn't terribly likely to be required before, but it's still, you know, it's still a very non-zero chance that Fairy is going to be required. There are still several rooms that can require it. jkoper now tying it up on gems. And, you know, on paper, you would say, well, Para has 5 and 6 completed, and jkoper's 1 and 2. So that means Para probably has the overall advantage in palace completion, but this 1 and 2 compared to this 5 and 6, Koper is like at least a half a palace ahead right now. It's just, it's 1 and 2 are both really long and really linear, and there's no getting away from it. Where, at least for Para, P5 and 6 were both quick. And this is maybe the 3rd or 4th time this seed Koper has ended up in the lava, just like missing a jump or getting bopped. And decides not to take it up A early, just saying, well, the death is fine. And again, Koper is going to have a much easier time on Guma than Para did with Attack 5 and Shield Spell compared to Para's Attack 4 and Junky Life Spell. So far, jkoper taking identical routing to Para early on in this 5. And Para going to be forced to take identical routing to Koper in these eastern palaces because they are very linear. Yeah, so we did see the first item room in 5 our runners got basically at the beginning of the seed. That was a trophy. The second item room, now both runners have seen Blue Jar. I don't think we've seen the third item in 5. So that could potentially be the fairy spell. Para did not go back to search for it after finding a relatively quick Guma. Koper also finding Guma. But yeah, not only a shield spell, does have crappy life. A couple cast of crappy life will probably... Yeah, gonna buy him 1 additional hit with that extra bar it gave him. We're going to start off with more aggressive strats. We'll see if he changes his tune. Wow, yeah, attack 5 way better than attack 4. Still got to be careful, though. And, we're down to his... Oh, I was going to say down to his last life. He had picked up an extra life at some point there. So, going to have 2 more. He did not seem too happy with that death. Still going to go with aggressive strats, though. He's got lives to burn. Alright, and then chills out a little bit after getting Guma off the wall. Alright. So even with that death, still faster than Para. That's how much of a difference that attack 5 made. I guess Para did have a death too, but like almost instantly did not take a death later in. Right, Guma down for jkoper. Para still digging in P2. It's not a complicated route, it's just long. Don't think too much longer in P2 for Para. Yeah, jkoper also not interested in digging out that last item in 5. He's going into the caldera to do 6. And I think, yeah, just down the elevator in this room should be Helmet Head for Para. Good news for Para, she does, even though she's a little bit behind on palaces, does have Reflect and a little bit more efficient routing. She'll be able to just go from here directly to Valley of Death, clear that out. Well, from here to P1, and then to Valley of Death to do 4. Not gonna have to swap continents. Coper's gonna have to tricky jump. Yeah, I guess it's like it looks like you should use jump to make that jump easier. You should not. Jump makes that jump harder. I think you still can make it with the jump spell, but yeah, Coper after finishing 6 gonna have to go back to the east, go get Reflect, and then do Valley of Death. So even though Coper's a little behind palaces, that extra bit of overworld probably going to even on runners up. I wouldn't be surprised if they're in GP within a minute or 2 of each other. Right, yeah. And jkoper take a similar route to Para. I don't remember. Okay. I don't remember exactly what the route was, but I remember Para was in and out of the 6 in what felt like no time. So now Para into 1, which once again is a hold right fest. Okay, yeah, it was here. It was... So Para held down right at the start, found this room, realized it was a drop room, and decided to take the drop. And that just leads right to the boss. So a little bit of time lost for jkoper just on routing. He's going to check the item. It was Fairy Spell. Para was in this room with the fairy spell, didn't even walk a couple tiles over to check it. And this could be really big for Koper. Does go out of his way to go pick it up. Makes sense. Oh. Koper with the fairy spell, gonna save a little bit of time in the turnaround room. Yeah, this was the way. Para had gone right and then said, wait a minute, I want to go down, and then came back in the turnaround room. So yeah, a little bit of time lost for Koper. It was a slower 6 than Para had. He checked that right, probably lost about 45 seconds to a minute. We're gonna have a much quicker kill on Barbet here. Attack 5 way faster than attack 3. And let's... Alright, Para just casting jump to clear over. You can make it without jump, but just a little bit smoother with jump. And now Para's on the clock. And also in the lava. So Para needs to get out of here, finish this palace, and get out before jkoper makes his way to the reflect spell. Probably going to be relatively close heading into P4. We'll see. I think Para's close to the boss here. Oh, and up A. Don't think Koper up 8. I think Koper walked back after getting that shield spell. Don't remember whether that's actually faster or not based on the shape, but... Yeah, I mean, as previously mentioned, right, like... This P1 and P2, very slow for both runners. Yeah, so this is the way. This was through here. jkoper picking up upstab first. Gonna have his reflect in just a second. jkoper finishing up his spell list. Para on the boss. Koper heading to Valley of Death. Para gonna be right behind or right in front, basically neck and neck coming into P4. I mean, they were very, very closely matched within, 15 or 20 seconds of each other early in this seed. We had that big divergence where Para did a bunch of west stuff, Koper did a bunch of east stuff. They sort of merged back together in the end, and it's going to be a foot race through P4 and GP. Both runners have to take a connection cave to get to that middle section of the continent. No ground route there. Where you going, Gopro? Can't walk through there. Gotta go around. It's just up the lake. Yeah, good point from BT Slacker. Koper has fairy, and yeah, it's Para about 3 steps ahead entering Valley of Death. But Koper has feet made of fairies, an absolute ton of magic. And Para gonna have to encounter skip through these encounters. Probably gonna cost close to a minute. Or not encounter skip. Para just gonna cast jump and do them the intended way. Will be a little bit faster if she can pull it off, but a little bit of danger with that lava. Yeah, and Fairy Feet showing its value. Koper, the length of time it took Koper to get that fairy spell has already paid off just going through this valley. And it's going to pay off for him coming out of this valley too, because it's going to be faster to, especially, Para might be faster to up A. For Koper, it's going to be way faster to just walk out of this valley on the way back to the maze. So Fairy Feet going to come in handy again, even if not required. Fairy's just a nice spell to have. Makes hard rooms easy, makes slow rooms fast, keeps you out of the lava. Both runners have identical magic. jkoper with just a 1 life level upgrade. Probably not going to make a ton of difference. Getting that vanilla fairy required robe, that could be spooky. jkoper going to drop down all the way. Okay, it looks like it's just going to elevate her. They're going to lead to the same spot. Could have been spooky, depending on how this map connected. But fairy not required here in P4. Or at least not yet. Although it is notable that when jkoper first landed in that fairy required room, he did do the old vanilla thing where you land right on the edge and you're up on the ceiling, so our runners could, at least theoretically, out of logic, do a little ceiling walk there. But the logic allows you to go around anyway, so no big deal for the runners so far. You get to the skull room. This is a good room to cast fairy in if you don't want to fight these enemies. You can fairy over the top. And Para didn't take the drop and somehow gets a huge gain on jkoper. You just held right, that was it. All of the rest of this palace must connect back up top somehow. And Para with a huge gain. I mean, one thing we know is that because drops in this palace type have to lead you to either the boss or the entrance, there are no inescapable drops at present. We do know this will eventually lead back to the boss somehow. But it might be a long trip for jkoper. Yeah, and he has determined that he is looped and taken it up A. And man, jkoper had a ton of advantage coming into this P4, but just a little bit of palace routing difference gonna cost him all of the time he gained with fairy feeding. I don't blame him. I mean, I like the route that he took. It just, like with all things in a randomizer, sometimes you do the right stuff, and it is randomly not what you want it to be. All right, so jkoper back here in the drop room, dropping again. Gonna try a different path. Oh no. This sucks. So what was going to be a pretty close race heading into GP is now substantial advantage. Para 116-43 coming in. And here come the birds. Thankfully, the lava doing some bird control right off the bat here, but put 2 birds in the lava, one comes back, and he's all red. And speaking of birds, it's more birds. Yeah, and Para realizing shield spell every room, probably the appropriate way to go here. jkoper finally finds a way to the boss here in P4. Not the route Para took, very circuitous, but it did get him here. So he will be through the valley and into GP, probably in the neighborhood of like 3.5 minutes behind. Para deciding not to cast jump. Okay, decides against it. He is going to cast jump to take the shortcut here. It's a partial refund with that blue jar. Alright, jkoper into the valley. Para onto Thunderbird. Does have enough to cast Thunder and gonna get a shield out of it too. It's a little off pattern, takes a hit, manages to reset it. Back to a very standard 3 going one way, 2 the other. Ooh. Off pattern again, but a quick turnaround and we're back to it. Doing a good job of correcting when things go awry. Still a little bit off, but not going to be a problem. All right, Koper 119.43, so exactly 3 minutes. Going to be Para's advantage here in GP. And going to potentially lose some of that advantage with one more hit on Thunderbird. Makes it through, though. Very nice. So we'll see how painful the route after Thunderbird is. Good news, Para didn't have to take a game over for Thunderbird, so gonna have 2 lives remaining. Oh man, only 1 life remaining, I'm wrong. So, a little bit scary for Para. If she can't make it through here and takes a game over, it's gonna be jkoper's race to lose. One big elevator and pick a left time. Is oops, all lefts for Para. And she decides on the top one. Maybe a little bit of inexperience for jkoper not knowing this room. If you cast jump, you can just hold right. There's 2 different breaks. Only slow if you don't want to cast jump. Or fairy. If you have fairy, you can just take the last one. It's a little bit faster. So now it could come down to with it being just a bunch of lefts after Thunderbird, it could come down to which left you choose, although it looks like potentially some of them might connect. Fairy gonna stay on this top route, keep holding left. What, 2 bars of life left on her last life, gotta be careful. Here comes King Bot. There goes one of those bars. Oh, here's Dark Link, but this is absolutely not free at this point for Para. Gonna have to be real careful not to take a hit. I don't know if she's like just over or just under 1 bar. But Dark Simon here going to deal 1 bar of health with a hit. jkoper takes down Thunderbird. Gonna be right on Para's heels. Clean so far. The only concern, oh, okay. Para didn't want to get hit. Got out. Went through a hit. No! Oh, and for the first time I've seen this tournament, a game over on Dark Link gonna be the decider on this race. It's possible Koper also takes a game over here, but short of a game over, it's gonna be all over. It is still possible. There's lots of birds. jkoper played it safe though. Lots of shield spell action. He has 1 life down. Had to take a game over, take a death on Thunderbird from lack of magic. He is on the right route though, although I think based on how this palace is structured, you could have taken either the lefts and they connect together. So didn't really matter which left you took. They're all going to lead to this last elevator that just goes straight up to Dark Link. Yeah, fairly certain Koper has another life in reserve here. Making good use of that shield spell when he can. Checking these elevators, but well, they keep just going left. And left is the way he needs to go. Doesn't want to cast jump spell, just make it a little bit of a runway to jump up into, no problem. Alright. Next danger, Koper gonna have to watch out for the king. Also makes it through with just 1 hit. And here's Dark Link. jkoper got quite a bit of additional life to spare. Does have shield spell up. Tries doing the jumping on the corner to dodge. The hit gets hit anyway, but he's got enough to save him. Get your GGs in chat. jkoper take a steal on this race right at the end. 125-12. Wow, I mean, this race went back and forth so many times. I'm really curious to see Koper's stats. We can see just how crazy that 1 and 2 were compared to 5 and 6. And even then, Koper had a little bit slower of a time in 5 and 6 compared to Paris, so not as much difference on his side, but... And Trogdor flexing his big beefy arm at the end there. Saves no one, killed Ganon, just for his own purposes. Can now burninate the rest of the countryside. And Para will be right behind in just a bit here. All right, so Para in much better shape this time. Pretty much identical when it comes to life, but she has an extra life in reserve. Should make this much safer than last time. Still gets bonked in the corner, but... Two hits left. One, and get your GGs in chat. Para finishing with official time 1:27.14. So a 3-minute lead in, but unfortunately 5 minutes lost to that game over. And we've got jkoper with us here in the booth. GGs.
GG.
That was a wild one. Holy crap.
Yeah, I guess so from the talk after the race, but yeah, I'm expecting Para's gonna come in, but
yeah, we'll see if we can get Para in here, because I want to go over some of the insanity, but
there she is.
And we got Para here too. GG.
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 That was something. You two were back and forth, the whole race. Coming into Valley of Death, Para, you were 3 steps ahead.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm
not surprised.
Too. GG. Koper gained for a bunch of, just going back the whole race. You sort of had to play the coming into Valley of Death. Para, you both steps did just a quick dip in V5. Got in, got out, got the things you needed. Yeah. Went east. Koper gained. Koper did west first. You did east first. Just going back didn't really make a ton of difference. You sort of had to play the beginning the same way. And you both did P4 just last, and again basically tied up coming in. The big difference. Went east. We thought was going to be Koper did west. jkoper picking up the fairy spell didn't really make a ton of difference. And you both did P4. It was in last, and again basically tied up coming in.
Okay. Yeah, it was right on the way. It was. We thought was.
Oh,
it was a required drop.
jkoper picking up that drop through item room. You didn't end up picking up. And it was in fairy spell.
I must not have known it was an item room.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It was right on the way.
Version 5 rooms like
it was a required drop. Yeah, that's a really common one.
That drop through item room. That one's actually, it's a version 4 room, but it plays very differently now because it doesn't always loop into itself.
I just must have gone right by it. I didn't see it. I didn't know it was an item. Oh! I know which room it is. I thought it was that room. I know which one it is. Yeah. I know which room it is. It's a V4 room, but you don't usually come from top. I thought it was a completely different room. I just didn't think to go left and look there.
Yep.
Oh, I got lucky that fairy wasn't required at all. It would have been so useful in Valley of Death though.
Yeah. Would have saved some time for sure.
Wow, that's brutal for me.
But jkoper saved a bunch of time in the valley, but unfortunately, for him, Para, you gained a ton of time in P4 with the hold right strats. Not taking that first drop saved you about 5 minutes in P4. jkoper saved a bunch of time.
Yeah, I got lucky in P4.
Looking at the comparison, almost exactly for 5 minutes. Para, you gained a ton of time.
Wow,
in
P4 I was a little bit surprised that I was ahead, considering I didn't have fairy.
That first drop
that explains it.
5 minutes in P4 or something like that.
I mean, I didn't have.
Yeah, looking at the comparison, almost exactly 5 minutes difference.
But it would have saved a lot of time in Valley of Death. Valley of Death was slow.
Yeah, there was 3 or 4 encounters. I think 4. Yeah, but fairy was very cheap too. Fairy for most.
Yeah, unfortunately, in the end, it came down to you were a little bit ahead in GP Para, and just the Dark Lake, it was so close.
I wasn't careful enough in GP. I took too many hits. That big bot at the very end got the drop on me. I was like, oh crap, and it went to the right. I was like, I think I'm gonna be safe, but then it crawled left before I got through, and I was like, I should have cast shield, but I didn't know that Dark Link was like 1 room ahead, obviously. So I just should have been more careful. I took too many hits, and I got a little bit too careless. I got to Dark Link with actually 2 hits left. I thought it was only 1 hit, but I survived 1 hit. And, I normally I don't actually fight Dark Link. I just stand to the left and hit him like everyone does. So I'm like, I know he could do the thing where he jumps on your head, and if he does that, I need to run away, which I normally don't do. I was like, okay, I actually reacted at the time to run away from it, but I don't know what to do next. I don't know how to get him back in the pattern, and that's where I faltered and ended up dying to Dark Link, which, you know, doesn't usually happen, but going in with low health, it can happen, and that's so brutal. I'm gonna kick myself for that for a little bit.
Yeah, that's rough for sure. Normally what I do is, I mean, it's not consistent, but if he jumps on top of me, then I just kind of try to stagger jumps with him, but it's very... Yeah, that's rough for sure. It's normally what I do is...
yeah, I'd have to test it. I'd have to, like, try it a little bit. I've never really had cause to before. Dying to Dark Link's very rare. Game overing is rarer, but... yeah, unfortunately, he didn't even do that pattern the second try, so that didn't take a hit on that one. This scene was very uncomfortable. Like, attack and life were both, like, very, very low. Like, attack just did nothing, and life, like, it was like a double damage mod. Like, this is horrible.
Yeah, attack was pretty much worthless until,
like 5, I think was okay. Yeah.
5 was...
I think I had to do Guma with 4, I think, but I executed a perfect Guma fight.
Pretty much worthless. I did not, but... Sorry.
Yeah, I didn't take a single hit with like 4 or 5 or something like that. It was pretty good. I was happy with it.
Yeah, I did. I made sure to do 3 before 5.
Yeah, same.
Because it got me an extra attack level. So
I did 3 and then I did 6 because I had jump, which is required to get there.
Yeah, I did.
And then,
it definitely was. Jump
this is a weird.
Unless the hammer was available and you could go in the back way.
I don't think so. The connector from there's a connector in Maze Island, but it goes to just a dead end. So I don't think there's a way to go around.
Unless the hammer was available and you could go in the back way. Like, you could potentially, if the hammer's available somewhere, I have no idea where it would be.
Oh, it is. I have hammer. It's it's in
Maze Island.
Maze Island, yeah.
Yeah. So okay, I didn't get the second item out of Maze Island, so that like you could potentially, if the hammer's available. Yeah, you could. I have no idea where it would be. Since then, you had the hammer. No, jump wasn't necessarily required because you could go up to that. Obviously, make a big difference too. You could. What do you call it? Then you had the hammer, the place where the P6 was. Jump wasn't necessarily.
The crater.
That's not the right word, but you got the hint. You can go up there from the bottom. Then you can go through Fairy Cave backwards to get there. So
no, but I don't think there's a way to get there.
P6 was. Is there not a way to get there? I thought it went through.
I'm pretty sure that's a dead end.
That's not the right word. But I thought it was just a hammer block. You got the hint. You can go up there from the bottom.
I don't think so.
Go through
I didn't see one.
Yeah. Maybe it is a dead
there is a hammer block cave, but it's just the cross.
Is there not a way to get there? Yeah, I thought it was. I didn't ever go into that cave either, obviously. Cause I thought.
Yeah, I don't think there's a way through. I could go back and look just out of curiosity, but I'm pretty sure you need jump to go through
Maybe it is a dead end. Yeah.
I think that the fairy cave just leads to nothing, as far as I'm aware.
I didn't know.
Maybe the fairy cave led to a lake that you can pass. So you could make it through the caldera, but you needed boots and fairy, and nobody actually bothered.
Oh, okay. Well, you can't get fairy because it's in 6.
He meant boots and hammer,
right? That you
can
pass. So you could make it through the caldera, but you needed boots and fairy, and nobody actually bothered.
Right. I mean, it depends on which direction fairy cave is going, which I don't know. I didn't see.
I dropped it. It was the drop. He meant boots and hammer.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, so maybe it's possible.
Yeah.
Either way.
I don't think it was tough to get jump, so that wasn't much.
Jump was in.
I dropped it. It was the drop from.
It was the water tile on the east.
Yeah. And
which is a little bit tricky to get to. East is kind of confusing.
I don't think it was.
This is one of the harder to find boots that I've seen. Usually boots are like really easy to find, but here they were kind of a little bit out of the way.
Water tile.
Yeah. And the boots were.
Well, I guess not really out of the way. They were in Palace 3, right?
Yeah.
That's unusual.
The hints for the hints were all really good, actually.
I didn't get a hint for boots, but.
Yeah, there was definitely a hint for boots.
I just dipped 3 just in hope that it would have something, because I knew I was blocked out of everything.
Yeah,
I didn't want to do 5, so I didn't. I just
Fair
went
enough.
to 3 instead. I did 5 because I had the hint for glove, obviously.
Right. Yeah, I went into 5 early.
And then dipped early.
Like super early, because I was getting low on lives and health, and I wanted to finish off my level. And then and then I got a 500 point bag, so I had to finish off another level. So I was ended up getting attack 3 early in P5, but I passed the key door for finish off my level. And then I got a 500 trophy, I think it was, that got the glove very early, like right away. But I didn't have a key yet because I passed they were in the drop door. I certainly would have opened it had I.
Any key was early.
Trophy,
but...
I think. Yeah, it was in the south though, but this was all before I went through the
I see.
Pair up, but I didn't have a key
That makes
yet
sense. That makes sense.
I was trying to just mostly finish off a level and see if I could get anything really free, out of P5. Yeah, it was in the south though, but but instead I wound up in some weird rooms that I haven't seen yet. I was trying to just that was that one room with the platforming that you have to go across the top and the dripper side and side that one before. But instead I but a couple of things really could have changed this seed too. Wasn't sure what fire was tied to, if that had been tied to reflect.
Spell, unfortunately, that was nasty. I was like,
Yeah, and then a couple of things also really if seed too. Wasn't sure what fire was tied to, if that had been tied to reflect. That would have been nice. The child had been under the rock in Death Mountain.
Yeah, I found Hammer Cave really quickly, so that didn't waste me much time.
Okay. Yeah, I did not.
I got lucky. I just kind of stumbled into it. I didn't even really know.
Yeah, I was looking for like an obvious cave, and then there wasn't anything obvious in the stretch.
Yeah, I just stumbled in the cave because I was trying to reset encounters. I was like, oh, this is Hammer Cave. Well, that's lucky.
Yeah, it was certainly required. So yeah, I was.
It sounds like I explored the overworld more thoroughly, so I probably lost some time on that because a lot of overworld drops were not worth it, but I did save some time on getting child quickly.
It was certainly required.
That would have changed things.
I don't know about more thorough on the overworld because I did everything except for that second item in Maze Island Maze.
Okay, that would have changed things if the hammer tree in the northeast corner was either. If that was a palace, that would have changed things. I went there twice. Once without hammer, and then I went back there with hammer, and it was nothing.
Yeah, it's obviously nothing because
so that was
every location in the east. So
yeah, I think this race would have been neck and neck if I had fairy, because I think I would have saved not quite enough time, but it would have been really close because I could do fairy feet pretty quickly.
Well, it was a few weeks. I have it still showing your stat screens on stream. Cobra got reflect, which was the last thing before going into the valley, at 1 hour 10 minutes 5 seconds. Hera finished Palace 1, the last thing she did before Palace 4, on 1 hour 10 minutes 34 seconds. Cobra got reflect. Y'all were neck and neck.
Yeah, it was really close. I just don't know if fairy. I don't think fairy would have saved me 2.5 minutes, but it definitely saves over a minute.
It might have also saved you
neck and neck.
Like health potentially, and I don't know. Like going into GP, I mean.
There was one room actually that I think if I had fairy, I would have saved myself from dropping to the lava. That's where I lost a life. So that actually, think that would have saved me if I got fairy. I think I would have won. It's close though.
Like going into GP, I'm not sure. I also fell into the lava at least 2 or 3 times. That would have been saved by fairy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that's all I have to say though. GG. That was a close race. It was a fun one.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Thanks for putting on the restream. GG again, and I guess we'll do game 2 tomorrow at about the same time.
Yep, tomorrow.
Yep, tomorrow same time. Definitely get it restreamed somewhere, either here or a personal channel. So pay attention to the Z2R Discord for that. Definitely want to thank jkoper and Paratroopa for the race they put on today. A very close one. Also want to thank our commentator Elendar, which I'm guessing had to step out.
I'm here.
But
oh. Yeah, once again, thanks to both runners. Thanks, VT, for putting this on.
Not a problem. I know we also had another race that went on, or is probably still going on right now, in the NIT between Vix Rider and Malkior. I'll probably restream that as a VOD tomorrow. But definitely we'll have, like I said, jkoper and Paratrooper on tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern, so just for your time zone. I'm going to send you over to Zelda Speedruns main, because they're doing a Ocarina of Time randomizer. I believe one of their races going on for their standard tournament season 9. So go have fun watching that. But other than that, everybody, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.